ATHRYS'S Embrace is an exotic that came out with Beyond Light that people have either grown to love or grown to hate inside of PvP, knowing that hunters now can have a one-shot throwing knife to the body, but it never really gets love inside of PvE. And today I'm here to make a build and basically show you guys that this thing is 1000% viable within PvE. Welcome everybody. If you're new to the channel, I make build videos here and there. I did kind of recently take a month break off. I am sorry for that. I'm officially back, but if you're new here, go ahead, check out my other stuff. But without further ado, let's get straight into this build. All right, before we get into the details though, like always, I do want to show you a brief overview of the build. Basically just for the people who know what all these mods and everything does. It just makes it so you don't have to watch the rest of the video to basically understand everything. You can just see the build for here. Go try it out if you want, or watch the rest of the video to see if it's good. And also, before I explain anything, I do want to preface, I made this build specifically to work with Witch Queen, so it has no seasonal mods or nothing that is used is going to get nerfed in Witch Queen, at least that we know of. I mean, we still got a couple more weeks, but it's for now, this thing still works in Witch Queen. So, yeah, let's get into it. Here's the brief overview of the build. Obviously, it starts with ATHRYS'S Embrace, or however you pronounce it. You're gonna obviously need that exotic on, obviously be on Hunter, and obviously be on Golden Tree Gunslinger, because that's the only tree that ATHRYS'S Embrace works. In terms of weapons, you kind of only necessarily need one thing, and that's gonna be 1-2 punch. You 1000% need this. Now, the second thing that I would recommend, but you 1000% don't have to have, is Monte Carlo. I'll explain later in the video why I prefer to use this and why it's extremely helpful. But if you don't like this weapon, or you just have a favorite kinetic you like to use, go ahead, by all means, you can use that instead. And then in terms of heavy, once again, use whatever you want. I just found using a linear fusion rifle really good just because of how much damage it does. I'm not using particle, once again, because when it comes to Witch Queen, I want this build still to work. And linears are still going to be amazing when it comes to Witch Queen. In terms of mods, we're going to rock Protective Light, Melee Wellmaker, Well of Life, Elemental Charge, and Heavy Handed. Now that's basically the entire build. But now for the people who don't necessarily understand everything, or just want to see how all these mods and all this entire build clicks, I am now going to get into the exact details of everything. So starting off, we're going to start with ATHRYS'S Embrace, the whole exotic that this whole build is built around. Now, ATHRYS'S Embrace come with the exotic perk called Skittering Stinger. Weighted knife gains a second bounce. Rapid precision hits with your weapons grant weighted knife a significant damage bonus and the ability to stun unshielded combatants for a short time. Now, to give you an exact demonstration of actually how much of a damage boost this thing gives, the weighted knife, I actually went, once again, tested the exact damage numbers in the Lost Sector. I believe this boss's name is Carl, I think, something like that. But as you can see, so the base throwing knife to the body on the boss does 18,353. The base throwing knife's precision damage on the boss is 27,529. Now, with the ATHRYS'S Embrace active, it now buffs the base damage of the throwing knife. The body goes from 18,353 damage to 55,058 damage. The precision damage then goes from 27,529 to 82,587. So right then and there, you can already see the insane damage increase this thing gives just for hitting a couple precision shots with an AR or an SMG or whatever you're using. Is easy to accomplish just because it's full auto. So that right there already makes these knives basically able to one hit a lot of yellow bars and basically any red bar in the game. Now, you are able to take it up a notch by using a shotgun with 1-2 punch. This is why I said it's 1000% needed for this build. What 1-2 punch does is hitting an enemy with every pellet in a shot increases your melee damage for a short duration. Now, 1-2 punch and the throwing knives alone give it the exact same damage boost. So with 1-2 punch and without the ATHRYS'S Embrace, you're gonna get that 55,000 damage body and that 82,000 damage precision. But where things get real fun is when you combine the two. So if you have 1-2 punch active plus the ATHRYS'S Embrace perk active, it now makes your throwing knives hit for, I believe it was 162,000 to the body, and it makes the precision damage go to 247,761. It's comparable to the amount of damage you get out of like a Liar's Handshake build or something like that, except in my opinion, it is super easy to activate. All you have to do is hit a couple precision shots, hit them with basically a shotgun shot, and then just hit them with your throwing knife, and you're doing insane burst damage. Insane. Now that's basically how you get the damage boost, but the way that this build works is basically it makes it where you're not just getting increased damage, but you're getting your throwing knives back off. Now there's a couple things in this build that basically allow that to happen. If you look at bottom tree gunslinger on the weighted knife section, it basically says precision knife kills with this melee ability immediately recharge it. So basically, as long as you're killing someone with a precision hit from the knife, you get it back immediately. And this is super easy to chain. Trust me, I know you might think it's hard to hit these throwing knife shots, which in PvP it is hard to admittedly hit your throwing knives, but in PvE it is not difficult at all. Now that obviously only applies if you do get the precision hit kill. Now the rest of the build basically sets it up so if you don't get that kill, you're still able to get your basically your knife back instantly. The first way, and honestly the most prominent way we're going to be able to do this, is by using the mod heavy-handed. What this does is while charged with light, regain half of your melee energy when you use a charged melee ability, which consumes 1 stack of charge with light. So as you see in the gameplay, when I throw my knife, no matter what, it doesn't have to hit anybody. It's literally as soon as it leaves my hand, I get automatically half of my melee energy back, and it uses 1 stack of charge with light. Now, the way we're becoming charged with light is by a combination of 2 mods. The first mod we're going to be using is Melee Well Maker. Powered melee combatant final blows spawn elemental wells, matching your subclass energy. In the gameplay, as you can see, every time I get a kill with my throwing knife, it spawns a solar elemental well. Now, from there, the way we're actually becoming charged with light is by using elemental charge. Basically what it does is whenever you grab an elemental well, it makes you charge with light. If you're grabbing elemental wells that are the same energy as your subclass, which in this case we're creating solar wells using a solar subclass, it'll now instead give us 2 stacks of charge with light. So just off the rip, just by getting throwing knife kills, grabbing that elemental orb, we are becoming charged with light, which then will allow us to proc heavy-handed. So as long as you're just chaining throwing knife kills, you're basically getting your throwing knife back instantly. So now this is where Monte Carlo basically comes into play. Since heavy-handed, when you activate it, only gives you half of your melee energy, you're going to use Monte Carlo to get the other half super quick. What Monte Carlo does is when dealing damage with this weapon, it reduces your melee cooldown and grants a chance to fully charge your melee ability with each kill. So as you see in the gameplay, every time I'm damaging anybody, I don't have to get a kill, I don't have to do anything, just damaging them, you see it add to my melee energy. So that right there, we've already covered how to make these throwing knives extremely lethal by giving an insane damage bonus, and then also how to get the knives back basically immediately. Now the next part of this build is survivability. Because obviously, you know, going for throwing knife kills over and over doesn't have the best ad clear, which means it's gonna be kind of hard to survive. So because of that, I have added 2 more mods into this. The first one being Well of Life. What this does is picking up a solar elemental well grants increased regeneration for a short period of time. What it does is every time you grab a solar elemental well, which we get from getting throwing knife kills, it'll give you a healing effect for 10 seconds. You can see the buff on the left side of your screen. If you look at your health bar, you are constantly healing a little bit over and over again. Even while taking damage, you're constantly healing. Now, paired with that, we are also obviously going to use one of the most broken mods in the entire game, Protective Light. I don't think I will ever make a build or recommend a build that doesn't have this, just because of how broken it is currently in the game. For those of you who don't know, what it does is while you're charged with light, you gain a significant damage resistance against combatants when your shields are destroyed. When it says your shields are destroyed, it just basically means when you come red bar. I actually went and tested it just so you guys can have a visual representation of it. And so one of these clips is without protective light, the other one is with, and you can just see how much quicker I get melted. It is insane what this mod does. Everyone should use this. If you don't have it and Ada sells it, make sure you're buying it. Even if you don't have the mod components, go grind them and buy it. So that's basically it. That's the breakdown of the entire build, how every buff works and how to activate it. Now I just want to kind of go into how to apply all this stuff inside of actual game, because obviously in a picture perfect world, you know, you can have all these buffs, have all these different crazy things on your build, but if it's hard to get it activated or applied in the real game, then the build's trash. So luckily with this build, it is extremely easy to get everything activated. Basically, it just comes down to getting your first melee kill with your throwing knife. After that, you can chain buffs basically infinitely. All it takes is 1 throwing knife kill. Go grab that orb. It'll then make you charge with light. get another throwing knife kill. It'll use one charge with light. You'll immediately, if you didn't get the headshot, get half of your melee back. You can go grab that orb again, which will give you part of your melee energy. Use Monte Carlo to get it back up. Another throwing knife kill, rinse and repeat. But yeah, that's basically the whole build. Once again, I did try to make sure that this entire build will hopefully work in Witch Queen, just because, I mean, what's the point of me making a build video for people to use for what, 3 weeks now? So yeah, we'll work in Witch Queen. If you guys have any suggestions on how to make this build better, please let me know down below. Like I said, I tried a whole bunch of different things, and this is what I think came out as the best build for this exotic personally. If you have any specific weapons or exotic armor pieces that you love, please let me know. I'll try to make a build for them for you, just to basically show you the most effective way to use these weapons or armor. But yeah, that's going to do it for me. Once again, if you enjoyed the video and you are new here, please consider subscribing and liking the video. It means a lot to me. We are on the road to 1,000 subs. Hopefully I can reach it by Witch Queen. That would be amazing. But as always, if you made it this far, I love your face, and all you fine ladies and gentlemen, have a great rest of your day.